Good morning, everyone. Today's class will be on lichen planus. Once again, an important topic. So, what is lichen planus? It is a chronic itchy skin disease of unknown cause characterized by small purplish papules of skin having fine gray lines on the surface. Okay, last class you know about psoriasis. It will present with papules and plaques which are scaly. Okay, but here the lesions will be papules and plaques which are purplish. So purplish color is the hint, or it is the clue to diagnosis of lichen planus. It's very important. So purplish papules will be there, and along on the top of the papules you're going to see some fine gray lines. Okay, so those lines are called Beckham's striae. I'll come to it later. Okay, this is how the lichen planus lesions will present. There'll be papules or plaques. They'll be having a purplish hue or a violaceous hue to them. Okay. So coming to the etiology, the exact etiology of lichen planus is not known. There are several factors I'll tell you about. So one of the important thing is it is immunologically mediated. Means there will be some particular antigen which is going to trigger the lesions, but we don't know the antigen what exactly is going to trigger. It may be a drug or it can be some infection. We exactly don't know. Okay, so what happens, this antigen will be taken up by the Langerhans cells, and they process it, and then they present this antigen to the T lymphocytes, and then what will happen, the stimulated lymphocytic infiltrate is epidermotropic, means these T lymphocytes, they will come towards the epidermis and attack the keratinocytes, and during this lymphocytotoxic process the keratinocytes will release the cytokines that attract more and more lymphocytes. Okay, so this is about how it is immunologically mediated. And one more important thing is it is also genetically, some amount of genetic predisposition is there. Like for example, some patients with lichen planus may have a positive family history, and it has been noted that affected families have increased frequency of HLA-B7, and there is also some association with HLA-DR1 and HLA-DR10. Okay, so apart from that, there is also association which is noted between lichen planus and hepatitis C virus infection, that is HCV infection, and also chronic active hepatitis and primary biliary cirrhosis. Like these patients may present with lichen planus. Okay, and onset or exacerbation of lichen planus has also been linked to some stressful events. Another putative antigen is mercury in dental amalgam fillings. The patient who might have got mercury in their dental amalgam fillings, most probably they will develop lichen planus, which is oral lichen planus or mucosal lichen planus. They may develop mucosal lichen planus in oral cavity. Okay. So coming to this picture, it's very important picture. If you understand this picture, you are going to understand both the pathogenesis and histopathology of lichen planus. Okay, let's go through it. You can make out here the picture A is there. Okay, here you can make out two zones. The above one which is pinkish, the below one which has got a green zone. The pink zone here is the epidermis, the green zone is dermis. Okay, in all the pictures pink zone is epidermis and green zone is the dermis. So in the pink zone you can make out below there is a line of keratinocytes, okay, line of pink cells. Okay, these are the basal layer of keratinocytes which is just above the dermis, immediately above the dermis. The basal layer of keratinocytes is there, and in the dermis you are going to see some blue cells. Okay, these blue cells are nothing but T lymphocytes. Alright, so what has happened here is there is some antigen which has been taken up by the Langerhans cells, and they have been already presented to the T lymphocytes, and the T lymphocytes have come towards the epidermis. Okay, they are just adjacent to the basal layer of the epidermis here, and they all have expressed the that's the phos ligand. So that is nothing but the death receptors. You know what happens when there is phos and phos L ligand which is there, so there is going to be apoptosis. So in the A picture, the below picture you can make out here, there is lot of expression of this, and you are going to see how the apoptosis has been taking place. Okay, there the this pink small cells which are going in for apoptosis here, and in the B picture also you can make out the T lymphocytes are also going in for apoptosis. Okay, this what exactly happens. So this what has happened in the basal layer here, it is called degeneration or basal cell degeneration, or it is a type of ballooning degeneration. So similarly, in the histopathology, you are going to see the same thing. In histopathology, when you take a biopsy of the lichen planus and examine under microscope, you are going to see there will be a basal cell degeneration which has taken place. Along with that, you are going to see in the upper part of the dermis there will be a lymphocytic infiltration which looks like a band. Okay, that's band like lymphocytic infiltration you are going to see in the upper part of the dermis, and also the apoptotic bodies you are going to see. Okay, these apoptotic bodies, they are also called civet bodies. Okay, this about the pathogenesis, how exactly it happens, and also there will be a link to histopathology I'll tell you about. So you please keep this image in mind while I'll be telling about the histopathology of it. Okay, all right. Next, coming to the associations of lichen planus, this lichen planus may be found with other diseases of altered immunity. Okay, these include ulcerative colitis, alopecia areata, vitiligo, dermatomyositis, myasthenia gravis, etc. Okay, now coming to the clinical presentation, how exactly the lichen planus lesions present. I have already told in the introduction part they'll present with purplish colored papules and plaques. Okay, let's go through it. And most of the cases here are insidious in onset. The initial lesion usually located on the flexor surface of the limb, such as the wrist. Okay, most commonly the flexor surface of the wrist or even ankles are the most common site the lesions present. Okay, I can recall, right, in psoriasis the lesions will start in the extensor aspect like elbows and the knees, but here the lichen planus the lesions will start in the flexor surface of the limbs like the wrist or ankle. After a week or more, a generalized eruption develops with maximal spreading within 2 to 6 weeks. Okay. Pruritus, that means itching, is common but varies in severity depending upon the type of lesion and the extent of involvement. Okay, oral lesions may be present. Oral lesions is present. Okay, these oral lesions can be present either alone without the skin involvement, or they can be a part of the lichen planus which is present in the skin. These patients may also present with oral lichen planus, and sometimes the mucosal lichen planus can present by itself without any skin lesions. Okay, so if at all the oral lesions are present, they may be asymptomatic, or even they might have a burning sensation, or sometimes even painful if erosions are present. Okay, in more than 50% of patients with cutaneous disease, the lesion will resolve within 6 months, and around 85% of cases subside within 18 months. Okay, this is the course of the disease, how long the activity of the disease present. In around 50% up to 6 months. In majority of the cases, like up to 85%, the disease activity will present up to 1.5 years. The patient might ask like how long the new lesions will come, how long this disease will persist. So you can counsel them. For most of them, it will reduce by 1.5 years, that is 18 months. But even for another 15%, it may take quite longer. I have seen patients who are coming again for 3 years, 4 years, the disease is still active, but that is a quite only few number of patients, but maximum majority of them the lesions will subside by 1.5 years. Okay. Okay, the lesions will be papules which are violaceous or purplish in color, and they will be shiny, polygonal, varying in size from 1 millimeter to greater than 1 centimeter in diameter. They can be discrete or they can be single, which are present, or sometimes arranged in groups or lines or circles. Okay, coming to the lines, like these lichen planus, they also There you can also find Koebner's phenomenon in lichen planus, similar to in psoriasis. I have already told you what is Koebnerization. Appearance of new lesions at the area of trauma, like especially the scratch marks. The linear lesions can present along the mark. Okay, that is Koebner's phenomenon. Apart from that, there is something called linear lichen planus also, where the lesions are themselves arranged in lines. Okay. um, Okay, but what you have to remember here this lichen planus, the cognitivization can be present in lichen planus also. Okay, and another characteristic finding is there will be a fine white line called Wickham's striae, which is found on these papules. Okay, so this is how the lesions will present. Initially, they'll start in the flexor aspect of the forearm. You can make out there is some purplish tint to the lesions. Okay, that's how it's a clue to the diagnosis. Whenever the purplish tint comes, you have to keep lichen planus in the mind. Okay, so again you can make out these lesions. Papules are sometimes the papules are coalesced here to form a plaque, and also over the dorsum of the foot you can see discrete papules which are present. They are shiny and they have got a purplish or oiliaceous tint to them. Okay, again same, we're going to see these lichen planus lesions, but what you can also make out here, there is a line, the linear lesions which are present here. It is because of the carbonization which has taken place. Okay, again this is a child with lichen planus. You are going to see here again a small line over the thigh. So the papules are arranged over that lines. Again, Koebner's phenomenon. Okay, Koebner's phenomenon, actually it also indicates activity of the disease. The disease is still active, the region Koebnerization is still present. Okay, so this picture shows generalized lichen planus or eruptive lichen planus. It has become so generalized that most of the body parts can be involved. Okay, here there are so many lesions we are going to see over the trunk. Okay, and back. Okay, again one more case you're going to see in this picture. You can make out clearly the Wickham striae. Wickham striae cannot be made out on all the papules. So here you can make out that thin gray lines which are going to see, especially near the one behind the thumb region. Okay, you can make out Wickham's striae there. So, but to make it prominent, what can we do? We can apply some mineral oil over the lesions and can be seen through a magnifying lens or a dermoscope. Also, you can see, but you can put a mineral oil. You can see in the magnifying lens. The Wickham's striae can be made more prominent. Okay. So this is how it looks. The Wickham striae, that is grayish lines which are present on the top. Okay. So coming to the important point, that is 5 P's of lichen planus. Okay, how exactly the lichen planus appear? The clinical features of lesions of lichen planus, they have made it as 5 P's. One is purplish, pruritic, plain topped, polygonal papules or plaques. Okay, the lesions. If you see purplish, pruritic, plain topped, polygonal papules and plaques, think of lichen planus. Okay, there is also, they have put a sixth P called it is pterygium. Pterygium is one of the classical nail finding in lichen planus. I'll tell about it later how exactly a pterygium present. Okay, coming to the mucous membrane involvement. Mucous membrane involvement is common in lichen planus and may be found without skin involvement. Lesions are most commonly found on the tongue and the buccal mucosa. They are characterized by white or gray streaks forming a linear or reticular pattern on a violaceous background. I will show you the pictures here. You can make out there is a linear and reticulate pattern we are going to see here. Mostly it is linear here. You are going to see whitish streaks in the oral cavity. And here it is reticulate. Okay, here it is reticulate. You can make out that there is a lacy kind of pattern or a reticulate pattern which you are going to see in the buccal mucosa in oral lichen planus. So again here it is erosive lichen planus. Okay, we are going to see an erosive type of lichen planus in the oral cavity. So apart from the oral cavity, the lesions may also be found in the conjunctiva, larynx, tonsils, bladder, vulva and the vaginal vault, throughout the GIT and around the anus sometimes. Okay. So this is the genital mucosal lichen planus. Again, in the genital mucosa, here you can make out the lesion is arranged in an annular pattern. Okay, annular type of lesion which is present in the genital mucosa. Coming to the nail involvement, nail dystrophies may occur in lichen planus, and the various changes that may occur are: one is thinning of the nail plate, and second, it may be longitudinal ridging. There may be onycholysis, subungual hyperkeratosis, and pterygium formation. Okay, pterygium formation is one of the classical nail finding, but it is not the common type. You can see longitudinal ridging is the most common change, but pterygium is the most classical type, classical pattern, but it is not that common. Okay, so what exactly is pterygium? It is just the fusion of proximal nail fold with the nail plate. You have heard of pterygium in your ophthalmology, where the conjunctiva and goes in and attached to the cornea. Here the same way, the nail pterygium, the proximal nail fold will go and attach to the nail plate. Okay, okay, I'll show the picture. I have it. Okay, this is about longitudinal ridging you are going to see in the nail. So this is what is pterygium. Okay, here the proximal nail fold has attached to the nail plate. Okay, this is nail pterygium, and this is one of the classical features you are going to see in lichen planus. Okay. Next, coming to the types of lichen planus, one is classical lichen planus. What all these things, these papules, purplish papules, whatever I told you, all the way, it's classical lichen planus. So for undergraduate level, you should be knowing very thoroughly about the classical lichen planus. Other things, okay, apart from the classical lichen planus, there are few different types, varieties of lichen planus. They include annular lichen planus, atrophic, actinic, bullous and vesicular lichen planus, follicular lichen planus, guttate lichen planus, hypertrophic lichen planus, and lichen planus pigmentosus. Okay, so I got few pictures of them. So this is hypertrophic lichen planus. As the name suggests, the lesions will be very thick and usually found over the legs. Okay, here you can make out thick lichen planus. It's hypertrophic lichen planus. And then atrophic lichen planus, the lesions are like flat here, are atrophied. And guttate lichen planus, guttate, I had told you guttate means like raindrops, or the lesions will present like raindrops over the trunk. Here you can make out small lesions, especially small lesions you are going to see guttate type of lichen planus. Follicular lichen planus, where the hair follicles are affected. Okay, you can here make out follicular pattern. Okay, follicular lichen planus, again follicular lichen planus of the scalp here. Again follicular lichen planus. So annular lichen planus, here the lesion is arranged in an annular pattern. Okay, annular means there will be central clearing, only the border you can make out. So this is an annular lichen planus. Vesicular and bullous lichen planus, sometimes vesicles and bulla can be present here. You can see a few bulla which are present over the feet. Okay, and linear lichen planus, the lesions are either themselves arranged in a line. Okay. And actinic lichen planus, actinic means sun induced, like the lesions here they present in the sun exposed areas. Okay, especially the dorsum of the hands and extensor aspect of the forearm, and also over the face and upper part of the neck. Okay, here again actinic lichen planus you can make out. And the sun exposed areas you are going to see these lesions. Okay. Okay, another type is lichen planus pigmentosus. Here the lesion presents with pigmented patch, that is just a patch. You're not going to see any papules or plaques. It will present like a patch. Okay, especially most commonly over the face and neck. Okay, coming to the investigations. Okay, mostly the diagnosis is made clinically if you are going to see the purplish papules with pruritus, the lesion. You're going to think of lichen planus, and diagnosis is very easy, but sometimes it may pose difficulties. So that time, if you are in doubt, then you can always take a biopsy and send it for histopathology. So we'll see what are the histological findings of lichen planus. Here the epidermis will be hyperkeratotic with irregular acanthosis and focal thickening in the granular layer, which corresponds to Wickham's granular layer. There will be focal thickening you are going to see. Okay, that is which corresponds to the Wickham's tray, and there will be as I said, there will be liquefaction degeneration or ballooning degeneration of the basal layer of the epidermis. The degenerative keratinocytes known as colloid or civet bodies. Okay, these apoptotic cells I told you. Apoptotic bodies, they are also called colloid bodies or civet bodies, are found in the lower part of the epidermis. And also in the upper dermis, there will be a band-like infiltrate of lymphocytes, primarily the helper T cells and histiocytic cells and many Langerhans cells. Okay, the infiltrate is very close to the epidermis and often disrupt the dermoepidermal junction. Okay, so in this picture, you can make out the top layer is the stratum corneum, and below that you're going to see the granular layer or stratum granulosum, where there will be a wedge shaped or focal thickening. You can make out it's not entirely thickened. You're going to see the V-shaped things. Okay, they are focal thickening, and they correspond to the Wickham's tray clinically. And in the base, in the here you can make or not distinguish easily between the epidermis and the dermis. Okay, there will be a obstruction of the dermoepidermal junction here, and in the upper part of the dermis you are going to see band like lymphocytic infiltration. Okay, there will be a band like, you are going to see lot of T lymphocytes have come and obstructed that dermoepidermal junction. And also upper part of the dermis, you are going to see all the small blue dots that you're going to see there. They are all the lymphocytes, T lymphocytes. Okay, it's a band like lymphocytic infiltration you're going to see. Okay, this is the histopathology of lichen planus. Okay, so here in this picture, you can make out the apoptotic bodies, a magnified view. Okay, coming to the treatment of lichen planus. So again, topical treatment is the coming to the topical steroids. It is the first line treatment of cutaneous lichen planus as a topical steroids. Okay, anyways, a few lesions the patient might present with very few lesions, itchy lesions. So going in for topical steroids is the first line. So it decreases the inflammation by suppressing migration of polymorphonuclear leukocytes and also reversing the capillary permeability. Apart from topical steroids, you can also use the immunomodulating drugs that inhibit calcineurin, like your tacrolimus or pimecrolimus. Okay, these are the steroid sparing agents. Okay, you can't give steroids for a long run. So what can you do is initially start with topical steroids. Once the certain amount of reduction in the lesions, you can shift over to these calcineurin inhibitors are like tacrolimus or pimecrolimus, because they don't have that much side effect as like the steroids have. Steroids, topical steroids do have, in the long run they have got lot of side effects. So we can shift over the topical steroids to tacrolimus and pimecrolimus. Okay, and these also may be useful in the oral and genital lichen planus. Tacrolimus and pimecrolimus are much useful in oral and genital lichen planus. Okay, so coming to the systemic steroids, the second choice, okay, if that is not responding only to topical steroids, they are going to put the patient on systemic steroids for symptom control and also for more rapid resolution. If the lesions are more than 20% body surface area is involved, not reducing with again just topical therapy, like generalized lichen planus is there. So these are the cases we are going to use systemic steroids. Okay, so apart from systemic steroids, there are also few steroid sparing agents like oral acitretin. Acitretin is a type of retinoid. Okay, and also you can use cyclosporin and also levamisole. Apart from that, few other drugs have been tried like griseofulvin, dapsone, hydroxychloroquine. Okay, apart from these topical and oral therapies, the patients with widespread lichen planus may also respond to narrowband and broadband ultraviolet B therapy, that is phototherapy, can also be given for these patients with lichen planus, especially generalized lichen planus. Okay, so your assignment question will be describe the etiology, clinical features, histopathology and treatment of lichen planus, and you'll be mailing it to our department email ID within 3 days. Okay, thank you.